Hi, Lisa.
Hi, George.
Thank you for coming today. Thanks for being interviewed for the podcast, talking about hair, faith, and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
We left your hair curly today.
We did.
I love it. And
Thank you.
I wanted to showcase the curls because I think, and thinking about your hair and confidence, it's such a big part of someone's personality.
Yeah.
And so we could jump right in. Tell me about your hair. Tell me about your experience in life with your hair as a young woman, as a little girl, what that was like, and what it's like now having, curly hair and your relationship with your hair.
Yep. Super close relationship. Conscious of my hair from early on in life, I would say. When I was a child, I actually wanted to be a hairstylist. That's obviously not what I've done in life,
Yes.
but I've always really cared about what my hair looks like, even as a child. So generally I had sort of shorter hair as a child. Actually, it was quite thick.
Okay.
It was not curly.
It wasn't?
It was not curly at all. It had a little bit of a wave in it, maybe. And then when I went to college, it was still sort of quite thick, little bit of a wave,
Okay.
but no ringlets or curls or... by the time I finished college, 5 years later, I had curly hair. Like my hair just got curlier and curlier as I moved through late teenage years and into early adulthood. And even the curl through my life has changed, I will say. So it's quite tight now.
Yeah.
It wasn't this tight when it first started to get sort of ringlets and get more curly.
Yeah.
I've loved the curl, but I've kind of had it's too strong a thing to say, but I've also had a bit of as you know, like a bit of a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
So I've ended up having a corporate life and, working in fairly sort of, traditional professional environments. And so I felt like my hair isn't that buttoned up, polished sort of persona that you think of when you're in a corporate environment.
Yeah.
And so I do like to have it straight too, or blown out straight. I find that hard to do myself just because the curl is so tight and it is naturally quite frizzy hair. But I now am at a point in my life where I'll say I've grown up, but I've learned to appreciate the diversity of looks that I can have because I have this naturally curly hair. And that's actually pretty precious and special, and I do really like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Is that something that you would do the majority of time at work?
No, actually. And so whilst I think that is like a more corporate look to have my hair blown out straight, I also have 2 children, and I mean, not now, but sort of earlier in my career, my kids are in college now, but earlier in my career, I mean, just getting them ready for school and that whole drill, I didn't have the time that it takes to blow this hair out straight. And I'm not really great because, getting at all those weird angles and everything. So I learned to live and sort of integrate my curly hair into my persona in my working life as well. And if I was really concerned about the craziness, you can always pull it back or put it up, and so that's what I would do. And you can always put it in like a nice little chignon or something that looks slightly sophisticated.
Amazing. Yeah, it's great. So the podcast is Hair, Faith, and Confidence, talking about hair, this curly hair, this wild hair, fun hair, faith.
Yes.
It's a question that I sort of leave open to have our interviewee interpret it the way that they want.
Okay.
So how would you say the word faith, what does that mean to you? And does having a faith play a role in your life?
Yes, not in a traditional sense, I would say. I think for me, I think of faith as having faith in yourself and believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And backing yourself, because I don't think anybody can do that for you as well as you can do it for yourself at the end of the day. You have to nurture that within you, that self-belief. So that's one sort of concept of faith that really resonates for me, that I believe quite deeply in. In terms of the more traditional use of the word and religion, I am not practicing in any particular faith. I was brought up as a Catholic, went to Catholic schools and have done the same with my children. But I think of faith in that religious sense, again, me personally, as spirituality. And I do think that having a spiritual life is incredibly important to being self-fulfilled or fully actualized as a person as you move through life.
Yeah.
And I guess my spirituality today manifests more for me through things like practicing yoga. It's something I do a lot of that just, I don't know, there's something about sort of the mind, body, the meditative elements of it, etc., that nurtures what I think of as my spiritual self.
Do you talk to God, or do you, I mean, is there anything there that besides just the faith in yourself at times, or no?
Not growing up, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But not now.
Yeah.
No. No.
And there's no need for it, you think?
Not
in
for
your
me.
life?
Not for me. Not for me. But I totally accept and recognize that nurturing of a spiritual self might for some people come through talking to God.
Yeah.
And having that spiritual relationship in that way.
Yeah.
For me, at this point in my life at least, it's more that inward looking, like being quiet, giving yourself that space to be quiet and to be in touch with your spirit, your values, who you are as a person.
So that kind of leads me to like confidence in yourself, right? So if you have faith in yourself and then you have this confidence piece, would you say that the faith is separate from confidence, or are they one and the same?
For me, they're interconnected, I would say, because I sort of said, you know, for me, one manifestation of faith is this idea of believing in yourself and sort of giving yourself the space and the grace to be yourself and pursue your dreams and goals in life and take care of your loved ones and all of those things. So, I'd say a definite interconnection.
Yeah. Did you have such a, like, confidence? So talk about your career for a second. So you're an attorney.
I am.
You do like mergers and acquisitions. You've kind of lived all over the world. You've had these global positions, different countries. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yep. So this kind of probably sounds a little perverse, and I'm not recommending it for everybody, but in some ways, I think my confidence has come from that self-belief, as I said before, that faith, having faith in yourself and your own abilities and thinking, well, no one's going to like create opportunities for you. You've got to go and create them for yourself. But then I also think something around just not thinking about barriers or blockers, and that's my naivety, I think, in a sense. So earlier in life, I think I was just like, well, that sounds like a good idea. I'll just go and do that. Or, you know, so I finished school a little bit early, and so I took what we now call a gap year and lived in Denmark for a year as a student and went to school there. And I'm Australian, came from the other side of the world. There was no internet back in those days. And so it was like a big deal to sort of move to the other side. I think the trip used to take about 40 hours. Wow. Right.
Holy cool.
I know. So no one was coming to get me if I sort of screwed up or something. But there was a naivety that allowed me to pursue that dream. And then I think as you do things like that in your life, it builds your confidence.
Yeah.
So by the time I was working in a company, and I think my kids were 6 and 7 at the time, and they asked if I would take a role in Europe based in Prague, I was completely confident and fine to do it. And I thought, you know, what's the worst that can go wrong? And we can always go home if we don't like it or if it doesn't work out. And we just, I think, had confidence that things would work out. And then there's a self-confidence piece to that too, because I was the one who sort of was being asked to go and do these things. And when we moved to Prague, like, I didn't speak Czech. I wasn't a Czech lawyer. And I was a sort of general counsel for a business unit that was across Europe and the Middle East and Africa. But I'm like, well, if they think I can do it, I probably can. So I'll just go and do that. And like I said, you know, if I didn't perform, what's the worst that can happen? I can always go home.
have there been any setbacks professionally, like in your career that you questioned your confidence or your faith in yourself?
Oh, for sure. I think naturally, of course, earlier in my career more perhaps than later in my career, as I sort of felt like I learnt more and had more confidence around how I knew how to do something. I did have one experience, this is probably over 10 years ago now, but, sort of in the second half of my career where the company got investigated by a regulatory authority for something, and I'd worked on the original project that was now the source of this investigation. I know your face. And I was also like, oh my God, did I screw up? It just didn't make any sense, but it just caused me to like really second guess myself and like, what did I do wrong and how did I contribute to this? And I did really question the work I had done previously, given the position that was sort of unfolding in this investigation. It turned out that there were other sort of like pre-existing situations that had created the situation that those of us who were sort of involved and then subsequently we didn't know about it. So I was fine, but I definitely went through some dark moments of like, what on earth has happened here? And what was my role in that? Which was really unnerving, to say the least.
How long was that?
Oh, it went for a while. In terms of that intense questioning of like, oh my God, did I really screw up? That was probably a period of about 3 to 4 months before we started to get a sense of there was more to this. But then in terms of how the whole project turned out with the regulator, that took much longer. But, but my sort of angst was probably a 3 to 4 months period where I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know what I've done. Maybe I messed up. What is this? And just coming to terms with all of it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Not at all.
My goal with the podcast is to reach an audience and share the experiences that I've had through decades, interviewing, talking with women, listening to them. And I've learned so much from every person that I've met. I've learned a lot from you, and we've talked a lot about many things in the short amount of time that I've known you. So thank you for that. And my goal is to like try to share with people things that can build up confidence, talk about faith, obviously share my thoughts about hair and the things that I do and the connections that I have with my clients. Are there any things that you would say to a younger audience, people that are getting started out in their career or in life, things that they can say to themselves? Like, how does someone build that kind of confidence? How does someone have that kind of faith in themselves? How do they overcome obstacles, in life? Is there like any lessons that you would, one, tell your younger self or tell a younger audience or anyone for that matter, anyone at any age who's questioning life at the moment, especially someone who, like for me, because when I have a tough time and if I feel really overwhelmed, I'll pray. You know what I mean? And I hand it over. Right? So for someone who doesn't have that, I mean, how do you, how can you share that with someone? Or are there lessons that you can share?
So whilst I don't pray or talk to God when there is that sense of need and overwhelmed and can't see what the answers are, I mean, that is when I will go and do more yoga or create, as I said, that space and give myself that grace to sort of come to terms with something that's unsettling me, keeping me up at night, or that I feel worried or bad about. One thing I would tell my younger self, or my kids who are also young adults now, is that self-confidence. Like, I think it's something that grows over time. Like, you back yourself, but you earn it in terms of your achievements and accomplishments. And while sometimes it might feel like 2 steps forward and 1 step back, you're still making progress. You're always learning. And as long as you're always learning, I think, great rewards that are there. And so I think understand that your confidence will grow over time as you develop a bigger sense of self-efficacy about what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And then I think something we don't talk about enough is how important humility is. And we talk about confidence and how it's important to be confident and build your confidence. But I think that to be authentic in that and to sort of be honest about the journey that we're all on, because, you know, we're all sort of works in progress for the time that we're on this planet, I believe. I think that humility is really important, and openness to learning. There's always something you don't know, always. And just recognizing that, you know, it's important to be humble because, you know, someone else might have an answer that you don't have, or there's always something to learn. And so not kind of getting over your skis in terms of being confident, I think is very important, even though that's something that I think personally is very important to be nourishing and nurturing within yourself.
Yeah. Talking about, you know, building your confidence, building your faith, and growing in that, right? So I've talked about commitment, right? And so with commitment, in my opinion, if you're committed to something, you can go through the ups and the downs. Right? And I think some people may give up too soon, right? Or they quit, or they just say, you know, it's going to be better somewhere else. How did you know? Because you've had different jobs and you've traveled around. How do you know when it's the right time to stay in a tough situation or to leave?
So I think it'll depend on the context completely. So for example, if you're self-employed or running your own business, you'll have a different frame of reference around looking at that and thinking about it. For me, I work in a big company, and so it's a very different sort of, you know, like there's 34,000 employees worldwide in the company that I work in. It's a very different context. Someone said something to me, funnily enough, yesterday, which I'll share in terms of knowing when it's time to stay or time to leave. And they said, if you don't have a good line manager, somebody who you can work with or who appreciates your contributions or supports you, that you can learn from, like whatever that is, like if that's not a good situation and that person's not going anywhere, then you owe it to yourself to do better for you. And I think that's fair. And I think particularly earlier in careers, you don't always see things that way, or you're more likely to just accept what you're told about the quality of your work or the opportunities or potential you have or whatever that is. And we all spend so much time at work that I think it's really important that it's something that you do feel good about. Like, it's never perfect. There's always things in a job that we don't enjoy doing. Like, I'm not saying it's all, you know, sort of rosy, but you do, I think, have to sort of understand that balance between when is it sort of contributing positively or a net positive to you and your life versus something that's just not serving you well and that you can't be your best self in either.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. The spiritual self, what is that? You mean just like your mind? Like you're like trying to get out of like the cerebral part of like, you know what I mean, of thinking? Is it like just like the turning off of the thinking or?
Yeah, I think it is the turning off of the thinking. For me it is, because I've got such a busy mind. So it is the turning off of the thinking and just being at peace.
Yeah.
I think, being at peace is probably the best description I can think
How do you
of.
sleep? Do you sleep well?
Yeah, I do actually.
You do?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Like, as soon as it's time to go to bed, my head hits the pillow, I'm out.
So you don't, I mean, a lot of people who think all the time,
Yes.
they're always thinking and they don't sleep well.
Yeah.
You know, but you don't have a problem.
No, I don't.
That's good.
Yeah, I know. I'm lucky for that.
So you're very smart and you're spiritual or faithful in yourself. Yeah. Enough to be very successful at work, to have good relationships, and to set goals for yourself and obtain those goals, overcome obstacles, and be at peace, right? And be happy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I think those are the things that I want to talk about, and that's what we are talking about, so that, people out there who are watching, they can learn from us, or they can learn from, what we're talking about, and listen to people's experiences in life, and because everyone's different.
Everyone's different. And I think things are not static either. So, as I've been telling you recently, like what I've done for the last 25 years is not what I'm going to do for the next 10 or 15 years. Like I feel like that piece of, like, I don't have a fire in my belly. Like, I need to do something different to keep nurturing my spirit, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not static either.
Yeah.
That's something that we don't, again, recognise enough. And for some people it is, and that's great, But for others, like I do like to learn. Like that's how I grow.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think it's quite normal or rational that I'd sort of, I've done this gig for 25 years or whatever. And now I need to do something different to keep learning and growing.
Yeah. Do you set goals for yourself on a regular basis, and how often do you look at those goals? And do you set like short-term goals, long-term goals, and?
I'm not too rigid. Like I do think it's important to be flexible, because like you can sort of have a view about what you want to achieve, and that can be financially or professionally or family, but you're not always in control of your external circumstances and environment.
Yeah.
So I do think you shouldn't beat yourself up too much. If you've not achieved something that was a goal, what did you learn? How are you going to pivot? So I think you have flexibility, but also have I think a general sense of continuing to grow and move forward, but recognising that can just happen in different ways at different times.
Amazing.
The believing in God thing, like I don't begrudge anybody their faith in, like I said, I mean, if I could have that, sure, I'll take it sort of thing. I just don't have it. And I think there's too much judgment on people for whether they do believe or they don't believe, or like just support people in whatever they're, like as long as you're not hurting other people and, you're a good person.
Raised Catholic, but I didn't go to church all the time. And I think for me, growing up the way that I did, and the things that I went through, the things that I saw, I always felt the presence of God.
That's amazing.
But I don't remember praying to God in those moments,
So when you say you felt the presence of God, was that like that sense of peace that I was talking about, do you think?
It was probably a sense of like, this isn't it, I mean, and maybe it was more like a faith in myself. I don't know, that spiritual side of myself.
Yeah.
But I called it God. I named it God, I think, my grandparents, and I lived with my grandparents for a number of years with my mom and my sister. They must have had a 5-foot by 4-foot picture of like Jesus.
Wow.
Like in the living room. So like, I mean, I could picture it like now. It's like, it was so big. It was just his head, his face,
Wow.
So it's very soothing. I think so. Having a visual of what you're taught is Jesus, and 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 you go to church and you learn about it, and you celebrate Easter and Christmas, and that was the foundation that I had. And then when I was 6, my grandmother passed away shortly after. My mom ended up in a abusive relationship. We moved around all the time. I went to 10 different grammar schools, and life was kind of traumatic, to say the least. It was pretty bad. I don't know what got me through it. It was a good 6+ years. And so, I don't know. I think looking back, I mean, it went by quick, kind of, but at times it didn't. There's vivid memories of really scary things that happened, and I don't know. I mean, it was tough, but I got through it, and I was able to have successful or like great relationships with people. Kind of got out of my teens and early 20s safely.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
No really big mistakes.
Yeah.
Who knows? But again, whether it's a faith or a confidence, for me, I do want to share with people something to that effect. Like, what is it that allowed me or someone like yourself to get through life, to succeed,
Yeah.
to have good relationships, healthy relationships,
Yes,
to
yeah.
believe in yourself,
Yeah.
to feel authentic, to feel strong,
Yeah. Yeah.
safe,
Yep.
at peace.
Yeah.
So, are there anything else that you'd like to share about whether, your life or your career or your hair, for that matter, with our audience?
Well, that's quite a broad canvas to sort of paint across.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I think building on some of the things that we've talked about today,
Yeah.
I would say that there are so many ways to sort of get to whatever your dreams or goals are. And there's no one right way. And
Yeah.
that there are going to be obstacles, there are going to be blockers. You will figure out a way of getting around them. The sun's still going to rise tomorrow. And so just recognizing that that path is not going to be linear.
Yeah.
And that the one constant in that path is actually you. And that's why I do believe that sort of backing yourself respectfully and humbly is such an important thing in terms
Yeah.
of the journey that we're all on.
I think in that, right, because we can expand on that some, I feel like men and women need to learn how to protect themselves, right? I mean, that's kind of the basic thing here that we're talking about. Like, because in life, there's people out there that will steal from you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Whether it's like your manager or
the
something.
naysayers.
Naysayers or
Yeah.
people in like a bad relationship.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
just in life, I mean, there's things that are going to knock you down, but how do
That's
people know when to sort of move, right? Like you said, like if it doesn't feel right, you sort of, it's time to go.
Yes, like
right?
listen to that and try and seek to understand why it's not feeling right.
Yeah.
And then what to do about it.
And most likely, I would think that if someone constantly is thinking and not feeling and being in touch with their spiritual side, they're not going to know if something feels wrong, right?
That's right. That's right. And that's definitely something that I've really had to work on throughout my life, actually, because I am a thinker. I've got a couple of college degrees and whatever, so I spent a lot of time up here.
Yeah.
And this is really important, and that's not my natural default. But I've learnt to bring it much more into how I engage with issues or considerations. Yeah.
Amazing. And you're an accomplished attorney. You've traveled the world. Tell me tell me exactly what you do.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Happy to. So I think people often, when they think of attorneys, they think any legal question the attorney will know the answer to. And there's different types of attorneys for different types of working environments or contexts. So I work at Mars Wrigley, and I'm the general counsel for Mars Wrigley. So I guess you could say like I'm an M&M's lawyer or a Snickers lawyer. But I work with a legal team of about 40 that supports all the legal needs of that business all around the world.
Wow.
So it's a $19 billion business or thereabouts. It's a big business, 34,000 employees. But I support growth for the organisation with my legal knowledge and the legal skills of my team. So, there are people in my team who look after all the trademark issues and the branding issues, the patents that we need for manufacturing, and then, making sure that our marketing materials are compliant with laws and regulations, ensuring that we're complying with environmental laws in our manufacturing facilities and things. So it's quite broad and diverse in terms of the legal issues, but they all relate back to the business in some ways. So we will respond to requests for advice or support on drafting contracts and things like that. But we will also proactively identify risks before they occur in the business and ensure that we're putting in or updating systems and processes to manage legal risks in the organisation.
Wow. Yeah.
So it kind of sounds a little bit lofty, but like on any given day, like if you did a day in the life of, there's, meetings with different people in businesses. We work with external lawyers who are specialists in certain areas because we don't have the specialty internally. And then there'll be time actually drafting letters, memos, contracts. It's sort of a mixed bag in that sense.
Are you constantly working on issues or deals or legal matters?
There'll usually be like a few key sort of matters that take up my time and the time of my team. And I should also say my team is sort of placed in different parts of the world too. So I will try, and one of my biggest challenges is managing my calendar so I'm not kind of working 24/7 in some ways. So I always try and, either go speak with my team in China or Europe or something. I'll sort of front load my day and do that earlier in the day.
So you're also managing many people.
Yeah.
Throughout your career, you've constantly have evolved. And would you say that this is like a highest point in your career so far?
Well, I think because when you were sort of asking about projects that take up my time, I mean, I'm definitely working on a big acquisition for the company at the moment, which is subject to sort of various regulatory approvals. But, and that's a really big deal. It's the third biggest consumer goods acquisition of all time. Wow. And so that's a real career highlight, particularly because I do have an M&A background. Yeah. It's an honour to work on that and to be a part of that. So it's definitely sort of a high point in that sense. And there's also something I think about working for brands that people recognise and that can be sort of fulfilling. And it's fun to say you're a M&M's lawyer or a candy lawyer.
And I would imagine once this deal gets done, who knows what's next, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. What would your role be after the deal gets done? Things change for the company as a whole? Because I assume it's going to get much bigger.
Yes, it will double in size essentially.
Wow.
With this deal. So it's a big one. I'm going to do something different actually. I like to do the deals. I like to be creative, and that's kind of been a hallmark in my career. Like I've helped companies and businesses navigate different regulatory environments in different jurisdictions or markets and find ways of achieving a strategic objective for them or bringing a new product to market in a compliant way or things of that nature. And so this is sort of definitely, like I said, a bit of a pinnacle in terms of that M&A work and creating value. The next phase will sort of be more of a stabilising and sort of doing all of the integration that sits around that when, subject to regulatory approval, deal closing occurs. And I know for my own journey and to keep growing and learning, I want to do something that's a little bit more creative than just by necessity what that next remit looks like. Yeah. So I'm actually going to do something I've never done before in my life, but push myself out of my comfort zone and look to do something different.
Yeah. That's amazing. Good luck.
Thank you.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So something different. You are going to do something different after this is all over.
Yes.
And what are you going to do?
So I am going to take a bit of a break, I will say. So I've got some family travel planned for later in the year, which I'm really, really looking forward to in Scandinavia. And I am really going to sort of take that time to reflect, maybe get a little bit more in touch with that spiritual side that we were talking about before, and what does give me energy and joy and lightness. I need to figure that out, I think, for my next sort of chapter. But I've worked now for over 25 years, and I have a lot of expertise, obviously sort of in the legal field across a number of different industry sectors. And I've worked on 4 different continents multiple times. And so incredibly fortunate in the opportunities that have been given to me.
Yeah.
But I recognise that I've taken them and sort of, made of them what I will.
Yeah.
But how do I help others with that sort of on the ground experience that I've had in such diverse places as like a China and a Brazil, or, and so I want to find something where my learnings and life experiences can help someone else or another company grow and flourish without some of the friction or the heartache that can occur when you're trying to sort of like grow across borders as an organisation. And I think, dare I say it, but tariffs is such a dirty word at the moment. Like, I can't tell you how many people are at the moment are like, oh my God, what this is like or that's like, or because I have worked on that level. And so I want that experience to be of service to help others.
How do you bring value?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that I need to figure out, which I will.
Would you work for larger corporations or consulting at a small level? Or
look,
what do you think?
I think I probably will do some consulting, George, but I will also say, we talked about relationships a bit in our conversation today, and I do value that in my work, like in all areas of my life, but in my working life too.
Yeah.
So for me, it's important to feel that sense of partnership or collaborative ownership on a shared goal that we're seeking to deliver, whether it's bringing a new brand or product to market or moving into a new country to grow the business. So feeling that I belong and that I'm included, but that I'm adding and creating value, and that there's real mutuality in that will be important for me as well. That can happen in a team in a large corporation, or it can happen in smaller contexts too. So I tend to think more about the gig, I guess, and what that is and who that is with, than it's a $20 billion business or it's a $25 billion business, or and that's also fine. I just know that what makes me tick and excites me is sort of like the who and the what and the where.
Yeah. You and I talked about the product line, I Am Gorgeous.
Yes.
And I think we definitely used some product in your hair today.
Yes, because those curls need it.
Because of the curls. But I told you to go work for a hair care company.
Yes.
So that in the future, as I grow my business, the hair care line, that you can help facilitate a merger and acquisition, which would be amazing.
Yeah.
So who knows what could happen?
Who knows? That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My hope is that people are interested in just hearing real stories about real people.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I'm
people
sure.
that-
I love that. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really do.
And knowing like people that are successful or not successful, people that believe in God or don't, and what they've been able to do in their life.
Yeah.
I think, I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about religion, I want to talk about spirituality and faith as like something that's personal to the person.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for me, it's about helping people feel confident.
Yes.
And I mean, the women that I've had on are strong, powerful, intelligent, successful women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, how do we share with a larger audience the things that you guys have done in your life to get where you're at?
Yeah.
And that's what I want to help facilitate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's not enough support for women, and we are potentially going backwards at the moment, which is not a good thing, is it?
Well,
when you've got people like Mark Zuckerberg walking around saying, we need more male energy in the workplace. It's like, right, well, I thought there was quite a lot already. But, I was just thinking, though, George, if that's part of your sort of like wish, whether or not doing some podcasts where you get the women, like it's more like a panel almost, like where you get a couple of women sharing stories or talking to each other. that could be interesting as well. Just a thought.
We could try
As
that.
you evolve the...
Yeah, the podcast.
Yeah. Because I just, being a woman and knowing people like myself, like often when you put a couple of us together in a room,
Yeah.
like we can really riff.
Yeah.
And we can draw out stories or information from each other
Yeah.
in a very peer-to-peer kind of way.
Would you be on the panel?
I would happily do that.
Okay.
I would happily do it.
Yeah.
And particularly if, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but if like the audience is sort of younger as well, like stories about raising kids while you're moving around the world, or like just showing that power women or boss ladies, as my daughter calls us, like we're human and we've grappled with really challenging normal human things.
Yeah.
Even if we look put together and polished on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think life is hard for many people.
Yeah.
And for me, I think because I've been a hairdresser for over 30 years and I've been around so many women.
You see it in your clients, right?
I see it.
Yeah.
I hear the stories.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of for them and what they go through.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always wanted to be a positive influence on people. As I've learned and sort of heard the stories, I always want to sort of encourage them to keep going,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And to believe in themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Because for me as a stylist, I'm trying to make people look beautiful.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
I'm trying to make people look gorgeous, to feel gorgeous.
That's
and,
right.
And what are the things
right.
that I've learned in my life that have helped me succeed?
Yeah.
You know, at work and at home. And I think for me, because I didn't have a great education, didn't come from a lot of money, like how did I get here?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And simply put, there are things that I've shared and will share with people.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, a panel of women, we can definitely try. I think for me, because I've always done things on my own, right?
Yeah.
And I sort of always go within myself.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a quiet person.
Yeah, I think we both are. Like we're both talkative in the right, like that one-on-one or in the right setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to you in that sense. I think. Yeah.
And I think if you just sort of keep the distractions away
Yeah.
and you focus on the goals
Yeah.
at hand
Yeah.
and you just chip away at them little by little.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I've been able to get where I'm at.
Yeah.
And yes, I have an amazing team and I've had
Yeah.
amazing people around me, right? My clients, my team, and, you know, people that have helped me through the years. Really wonderful people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
That you value.
that I value and that I put energy into those relationships. And I think when you do that and if you focus on giving back and to helping other people, that's when I think
Yeah.
life really gets good and,
Yeah.
and you can succeed on those things because you do need people. We
Yes.
do need them, even
Yeah.
though I think for me, it like certain wounds
Yeah.
as a child have always played a role in
Yeah.
my personality.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I'm here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a long time to learn that. Like, I think you more intuitively probably got to that earlier. Like early in my career, so like before I had kids, I worked in Hong Kong for a number of years, and then I went back to Australia, and that was where they were born, back in Australia. And I was this hotshot M&A lawyer working in big global law firms, like the ones who are now doing these big settlements with the federal administration. And like the first one that did a settlement, I worked for that firm.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, like always did great work and got well rewarded and sort of had a very sort of like classic sort of first, I don't know what that would have been. Let's see, sort of, I guess, 8 years or, 7 or 8 years of my working life or career. And then I got pregnant. And I remember going for my first appointment with a midwife, and I would have been like 4 months pregnant or something at the time, 3 or 4 months pregnant. And she's like, and so what's your network? Like, what are you going to do when you're at home with the baby after you've had the baby? And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, you're not going to be able to, like, if you need like a carton of milk or something, you're not going to be able to like just rock off down the road to, like, the baby might be sleeping. Or I'm like, oh, I hadn't really thought about that. Like, because I had just been like this, like much more singular performer
Yeah.
in how I was like focused and driven and it was all about me, not in a narcissistic way, but and then for the first time in my life I realized that actually I need people around me. I need to so I didn't come to that naturally or necessarily intuitively early in my adult life.
And how was that? How was after your
daughter
was born? She's the oldest.
Yeah.
What was life like at that first 6 months?
Amazing and discombobulating, I have to say. So I'd always been the power lawyer, and I told work, because back then in Australia you got 12 months parental leave, but not paid.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was in a position where I could not work, and my husband was working.
Yeah.
And so I sort of said, don't call me, I'll call you, like I'm taking the 12 months. And because I didn't know what having a child was going to be like.
Yeah.
And she was really good. Like she slept and ate and did all the right things. And so when they're little, they sleep all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was like calling work within about 3 months going, oh, I'll do like a little bit of work from home. So that was kind of funny. But I did go through this massive identity sort of existential, like, now I've got a baby and I'm not just me anymore.
Yeah.
And what's that? Like I wanted it. It was utterly joyful.
Yeah.
I still tell Annabelle, like, because she was the first, like the day you were born was the best day of my life. I can't describe what that was like. It was incredible. But it was but now what about me? Like, what am I going to do now? Because I actually did like working and it was part of who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going through that again now. Like I'm actually a bit sick of the grind of corporate life and some of the human politics, because they're not all nourishing relationships actually. Particularly when you're going through times of stress like this deal, it doesn't always bring out the best in people, So I'm a bit like, oh, it's not the right place for me, I don't think. But what is? I don't know. But I kind of went through that when I had kids too. But the kids were kind of the making of me in a sense, because they really caused me to question that. And in a way, like indirectly they caused that, but in a way, if I hadn't done that, I suspect I probably would have just kept doing the same thing. I wouldn't have grown as a person.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, actually, I'm going to take myself out of my comfort zone. Kids are kind of, finishing college, they're set up. I'm going to like just see what happens, not see what happens next, but just, like not just do the logical next sort of cookie cutter thing that goes. And having kids forced me to do that and to have to build a network of other people in my life when they were born.
But it seems like you always have done something outside of the box.
Yeah, I have. So I need to find that next outside of the box.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I do need that.
Yeah. Does that make you scared? Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, we talked about this before, like I don't even know what country I'm going to do that in.
Yeah.
Like, will I stay in the US? Will I go back to my home country? Will I go somewhere else? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, keep us posted.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.